Assalamu alaikum and welcome, dear learners, to this program on English tenses. Tense is a word which has been derived from a Latin word tempus, which means time. This means tense is used to show at what time an action took place. We make use of verb to show the time of an event. For example, he went, he goes, he will go. There are 12 tenses in English. We can arrange them in three major time classes. These are present, past, and future. We have four different tenses under each time concept. And today we'll be dealing with present simple or present indefinite tense. First, we'll be doing the form and then function. This means first we'll see what formula we follow to construct a sentence in this tense, and second, why we use this tense. So, formula first. It is subject, verb, object, SVO, and you know that is a very basic structure of English sentence. Examples: Sami writes a letter. Sami is S, that is subject, writes main verb, and a letter, that is object. I boil an egg. She teaches in this school. And here you must remember the pronunciation of teaches. Many of us pronounce the word teach, reads, judge, that is teaches, reaches, judges. This means any verb which ends with ja sound or ja sound, it is pronounced as teaches and judges in the present simple tense. So the formula is quite easy. This means when you use third person, he, she, somebody's name, Imran, Ali, Sarah, Ahmed, we use S or ES with the main verb. For example, you say, Sami writes a letter. You cannot say Sami write a letter, that is wrong. But you will say, I write a letter, and you write a letter, and they write a letter. Now, how to change this into negative form? Quite easy. That is, Sami does not write a letter. Now here you will not write writes a letter because you're using does. And you know with does, that is ES. This ES basically was attached to writes. But when we use does, that writes changes into write. So Sami does not write a letter. I do not boil an egg. Quite easy, I believe. Now we'll move to interrogative, like how to form a question. Again, quite easy. If you can construct a sentence in positive sense and then negative, it's easy to change that into interrogative form. For example, look at the sentence that is a positive form. Sami writes a letter. And negative, Sami does not write a letter. You will simply, what you do, you will bring does to the beginning. And you will say does before Sami and simply say, does Sami write a letter? And then put a question form. In writing, there must be question mark. In speech, there is rising tone. Does Sami write a letter? Do you pluck flower? Do I boil an egg? I hope you're enjoying this idea. Now we can move to the function, how we use a tense. A tense is not simply formula. It is used in society. People interact with each other each day and they use these tenses for some reason. So, we use this tense for habit to talk about a habitual action. For example, the child drinks milk every day. Imran plays football in the evening. I get up early in the morning. In these three sentences, you can see these are habits. The child drinks milk and Imran plays in the evening, and I get up in the morning. We can also use this tense to talk about general truth. I hope you know general truth. The sun rises in the east, isn't it? Birds fly, and some birds don't fly. We also use this tense to talk about a future event. When does the college open? We leave for Lahore tomorrow. And sometimes, there are different actions taking place at the same time or one after the other. In such a situation, we also use this tense. For example, First, I take a bowl and break 2 eggs. Then I beat the eggs for a bout. First I take. Take is a verb, a bowl, and break, second verb, and then I beat, and so on. In this way, there are different actions or series of action, one after the other. And you must have watched different programs on TV on recipes or cooking formulas, how to cook a dish, how to prepare a certain dish, and you must have seen the expert on television giving instruction. In your language, Urdu even, they are in present simple tense. We use this tense to talk about such things. For example, first of all, scratch the number, then feed the number to the mobile phone. After that, press this button and then do that. This is giving instructions. Present simple tense is very commonly used in English, but unluckily, this happens to be one of difficult tenses for foreign learners because of S and ES mainly. Very easy, remember, if it is a positive sentence and you're using he, she or somebody's name, singular noun, then you should use S or ES with the verb. He writes. If you say he write, that is wrong. And in negative, you use does with singular name or with he or she or it. For example, he does not. You cannot say he do not. Otherwise, this tense is quite easy. I hope you understand the idea of the form and the function. Now we'll move to the second tense, that is present continuous or present progressive tense. The form, I would say, is even easier. That is SVO, but what comes here is helping verb. Helping to help somebody. In English, there are certain verbs which are used to help main verbs, and these are is or have, has, or what, do, does. I'm going to give you some examples. Salman is drinking milk. Now, we can't say Salman drinking milk because ing form is there, so there must be is, am, or are. And since we are using Salman, a single person, we will use is. I am writing a letter. Now is changes into am because I. Salman changes into I. And you are eating an apple. Now because of you, we use are. But helping verb is, am, are. After this is, am, are, we use ing form of any main verb that you use. Here we don't have do, does. We simply use not. How? Salman is drinking milk. Salman is not drinking milk. I am writing a letter. I am not writing a letter. You are eating an apple. You are not eating an apple. And question, reverse. Simply take is, am, are, what we call helping verbs, to the beginning of the sentence. Salman is drinking milk. This is positive sentence. And how to change this into question form? Is Salman drinking milk? Now the function. We use the present progressive tense to talk about temporary actions and situations that are going on around us. For example, hurry up, we're waiting for you. They're playing chess. You can say, Madden, you're calling somebody and saying, we're waiting for you. This is a situation around you. We also use this tense to talk about what is going on around a particular time that we are thinking of. Something that you imagine. For example, at 7 in the morning, when the post comes, I'm usually having breakfast. Got the idea? We also use the present progressive tense to talk about developing or changing situations, even if these are very long-lasting. For example, the child's getting bigger every day. Imagine the process of child getting bigger. You can't observe in one go. That's a long process, but we use present continuous tense. And the climate is getting warmer. The universe is expanding. One more example, man is growing smaller in height. We also use this tense to talk about future. Strange, isn't it? We are using present tense to talk about future. How? We are leaving for Lahore tomorrow. Come and see us next week if you are passing through London. We are playing a match next month. Got the idea? And sometimes there are repeated actions. Around the moment of speaking, we use this tense for these actions. For example, why is he hitting the dog? And he's watching a lot of movies these days. Why is he complaining like this? Some verbs are not used in the progressive form. There we have to use a present simple tense. This is important. You must keep in mind English is a different language. It's not like Urdu. You can't use any verb in ing form you like. You must develop the sense of using these verbs. For example, you cannot say, I'm hating this, or I'm preferring this, or I'm realizing this, or I'm remembering this. That's something bad. You must use present simple tense there. For example, I remember he will come, he said, or I prefer this color over that color, or I love my father. This is the idea. Otherwise, if you talk about an action that is going on around you simply use ing form, and don't forget the formula. Use helping verb, either is or am or are. Otherwise, that's quite simple. Some of these words can't be used in ing form, as I've just said. You can see some of them on the board, on the screen in front of you, and try to use them in the right form. Try to avoid them using in the ing form. Note them down, practice them well, and I hope you can master these words.